अंग्रेज़ चले गए तो 1947 में यह पाकिस्तान के अंदर चला गया। फिर 1971 में यह बल्तिस्तान से सिर्फ 4 विलेज हमारे इंडिया में आया।
There's a place in India where Pakistan is so close you can see the villages across the valley, where apricot orchards spill down mountainsides that have changed hands 4 times in 70 years, where the language spoken isn't Hindi, Urdu, or Ladakhi, but Balti, a tongue that connects this remote corner to a culture stretching across forbidden Baltistan. Welcome to Turtuk. The village that India almost forgot. For 39 years, this place didn't exist on any tourist map. It was a military secret, a strategic prize sealed behind permits and checkpoints, known only to the soldiers who patrolled its borders and the Balti families who refused to abandon their ancestral home.
How a cry of anguish made India help set a nation free.
But since 2010, the gates have opened, and what lies beyond is nothing short of extraordinary. You're standing at 10,000 feet, surrounded by the savage beauty of the Karakoram and Himalayan ranges. The Shyok River roars below, its glacier-fed waters carving through valleys that have witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms. Prayer flags flutter not from Buddhist monasteries, but from the courtyards of Sufi shrines. The call to prayer echoes off mountain walls, mixing with the laughter of children playing in alleyways unchanged since the 15th century. This is Balti culture, a fusion of ancient Tibetan Buddhism, Persian Sufism, and Central Asian traditions that exists nowhere else in India. Walk through Turtuk's narrow lanes, and you're not just exploring a village. You're stepping into a living museum of Baltistan. The last accessible fragment of a region otherwise sealed away in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The elderly royal descendants still live in their ancestral palace, its wooden balconies carved by craftsmen whose descendants now run homestays for adventurous travelers. Women in traditional Balti dress, vibrant headscarves and heavy silver jewelry tend to apricot orchards that produce fruit so sweet it's become the village's calling card. But make no mistake, this isn't just a picturesque mountain village. Turtuk exists in the shadow of geopolitics. The line of control runs just kilometers away. Indian army bunkers dot the hillsides. Every resident here carries a story of divided families, of relatives they haven't seen since 1971, of weddings attended via phone calls across a border that might as well be a different planet. Some elders still remember waking up Pakistani and going to bed Indian on that fateful day in December 1971, when Major Chewang Rinchen led his troops down these very paths to reclaim what had been lost. Yet amid this complexity, daily life pulses with remarkable warmth. In Turtuk, you can share salt butter tea with families who've perfected Balti cuisine over generations. You can hike to ancient gompas perched on plateaus where Bon shamans once performed rituals. You can learn phrases in a language spoken by fewer than 500,000 people worldwide. You can stand at India's northernmost inhabited frontier and feel the weight of history, culture, and adventure converging in one extraordinary place. This is Turtuk. Where tourism meets territory, where culture survives despite borders, and where every traveler becomes a witness to one of India's most fascinating and fragile stories. Turtuk sits in the Nubra Valley, sandwiched between two of Earth's mightiest mountain ranges. To the north looms the Karakoram, home to K2 and some of the planet's most brutal peaks. To the south rise the Himalayas, their snow-capped summits piercing the sky. Between these giants flows the Shyok River, a wild glacial torrent that has carved this valley over millennia. But here's what makes Turtuk truly unique. Geographically, it belongs to Baltistan, a historic region that stretches across what is now Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Of all of Baltistan, only 5 villages remain on the Indian side of the line of control. Turtuk is the largest, the cultural heart of this isolated fragment. The story begins centuries ago with the Brogpas, a Dardic tribe who migrated from Chilas and settled these harsh valleys. They practiced Bon shamanism and lived in relative isolation until around the 13th century, when 2 warriors, Chuli and Yangdrung, arrived, overthrew the local king, and established a dynasty. Their descendants still live in Turtuk today, the self-proclaimed royalty of this mountain realm. Fast forward to 1840, the Dogra general Gulab Singh conquered Baltistan, bringing it under the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir. For a century, Turtuk existed under Dogra rule. Then came 1947 and partition. Pakistani forces swept through Baltistan, and Turtuk spent the next 24 years under the green flag. December 1971 changed everything. As war erupted between India and Pakistan, the Ladakh Scouts launched a daring operation. When Pakistani forces retreated, Indian troops marched into Turtuk, planting the tricolor where it had never flown before. The villagers, over 3,000 Balti people, woke up citizens of a new country, their fate sealed by battles fought on distant fronts. At 10,000 feet, where oxygen is thin and winters are brutal, survival isn't just about endurance. It's an art form perfected over centuries. The Balti people of Turtuk have mastered it with remarkable ingenuity. Walk through Turtuk between July and September, and you'll see trees sagging under the weight of golden fruit. But apricots here aren't just a seasonal treat. They're a lifeline. Families dry them on rooftops, preserving them for the 6-month winter when fresh produce is a distant memory. Apricot oil lights lamps. Apricot kernels are ground into meal. Even the wood fuels their fires. Nothing goes to waste. The traditional Balti costume tells its own story of adaptation and identity. Women wear the goncha, a long woolen robe in deep colors, often burgundy or navy, cinched with an embroidered belt. Over their heads, they drape vibrant floral scarves that pop against the stark mountain landscape. The real showstoppers are the jewelry pieces. Heavy silver necklaces passed down through generations, turquoise and coral stones set in intricate metalwork, and the distinctive parak, a ceremonial headdress adorned with turquoise that some older women still wear during festivals. Men traditionally don the shatush, a woolen robe paired with loose trousers and a distinctive Balti cap, though many now mix traditional and modern clothing. In winter, everyone wraps themselves in thick woolen shawls called firan, essential armor against temperatures that plunge far below freezing. Religion weaves through everything. The Balti practice Nurbakhshia Sufism, a mystical strain of Islam brought by Persian saint Syed Ali Shah Hamdani centuries ago. Their festivals blend Islamic traditions with echoes of ancient Bon rituals, a cultural layering visible in their music, their architecture, even in the way they celebrate weddings that can last for days, filling mountain air with traditional songs sung in the melodious Balti tongue. In Turtuk, culture isn't preserved in museums, it's lived daily. And nowhere is this more evident than when winter descends and the village transforms into an ice-locked kingdom. The Balti language itself is a cultural treasure. a melodious tongue that belongs to the Tibetic language family, but sounds unlike anything else in India. Fewer than 500,000 people worldwide speak it, and Turtuk represents one of the last places where it thrives as a living, breathing part of daily life. Elderly storytellers gather children around crackling fires, reciting folktales in Balti, stories of brave warriors, clever foxes, and mountain spirits that have been passed down for centuries. Music pulses through Balti culture. Traditional instruments like the daman, a large frame drum, and the surna, a woodwind instrument, create rhythms that seem to echo the very heartbeat of these mountains. During celebrations, villagers perform traditional circle dances, their synchronized movements and call-and-response singing, creating a hypnotic spectacle that hasn't changed in generations. When winter arrives, Turtuk faces nature's harshest test. Temperatures plummet to -20 degrees Celsius and beyond. Snow buries the village under thick white blankets for 6 months straight. The Shyok River freezes into a solid highway of ice. Roads become completely impassable, and Turtuk is cut off from the rest of India, accessible only by military helicopters in dire emergencies. But the Balti have turned winter survival into an art form. Homes are architectural marvels of adaptation. Thick stone walls 2 feet deep, tiny windows that minimize heat loss, and ingenious ventilation systems that channel smoke out while keeping warmth in. The traditional tandoor ovens serve double duty, baking the day's kambir bread while radiating heat throughout the house. Months before the first snowfall, families begin their preparations. Rooftops become drying grounds for hundreds of apricots. Cellars fill with sacks of wheat, lentils, and rice. Firewood is stacked in towering piles, enough to last until spring thaw. Women pickle vegetables and preserve meat. Nothing is left to chance. Standing at the edge of Turtuk, looking toward the line of control where India ends and Pakistan begins, you realize this isn't just a village. It's a testament to human resilience, cultural survival, and the complex beauty of borderlands. Turtuk represents something increasingly rare in our globalized world. A culture that has remained largely intact, despite being caught in the crossfire of geopolitics for over 7 decades. While borders were redrawn and flags changed, the Balti people held on to their language, their traditions, their music, and their way of life. They didn't just survive. They preserved an entire cultural heritage that would have been lost forever if not for these 5 villages on the Indian side. For the adventurous traveler, Turtuk offers experiences you simply cannot find anywhere else in India. Where else can you share meals with descendants of ancient royalty in their 500-year-old palace? Where else can you learn phrases in a language spoken nowhere else in the country? Where else can you taste apricots that legend says are the sweetest in the Himalayas, while military bunkers remind you that beauty and conflict often share the same address? But Turtuk's future hangs in a delicate balance. Tourism has brought opportunity. Homestays provide income. Young people have reasons to stay rather than migrate to cities. And the world is finally discovering what locals have always known. Yet this same tourism threatens to dilute the very culture that makes Turtuk special. The younger generation increasingly speaks Hindi and Urdu over Balti. Modern clothing replaces traditional dress. Ancient songs compete with Bollywood music streaming on smartphones. This is why documenting, visiting, and sharing places like Turtuk matters. Every traveler who makes the journey, every person who learns about Balti culture, every voice that tells this story helps ensure that Turtuk doesn't become just another dot on a map, but remains a living, breathing celebration of cultural diversity. So here's the question. In a world of Instagram-famous destinations and overcrowded tourist trails, are you ready to venture off the beaten path? Are you prepared to explore a place where every conversation is a history lesson, every meal is a cultural exchange, and every sunset over the Karakoram reminds you why we travel in the first place? If stories like Turtuk's fascinate you, hidden cultures, remote destinations, and the incredible diversity of our world, then subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell because we're taking you to places you've never heard of but will never forget. Share this video with fellow adventurers, and let's keep exploring the extraordinary corners of our planet together.